Okay. Listen, I can tell you you got it wrong. Listen, on problem number 1. This is read as a complex fraction. This is read as a division symbol. This says 340 divided by 3/4 of an hour. This says 3/4 divided by 340. This would be the numerator. This would be the denominator. It's not that. This one is 4/3. It's not even written the right way. It's not that. This is 340 divided by 3/4. By the way, if you'd have looked at the back of your sheet and you looked at number 9, and you'd have compared them, compared number 1 to number 9. Take a look at what they did. 1/2 divided by 3/10. 340 divided by 3/4. Very much the same type of problem. You could have looked at another problem to figure out what to do. So the correct answer for number 1 was C. Next, number 2. I was kind of surprised at how many people actually missed this, because I didn't have to do any calculations for this one. In order to be going faster, right, you've got to go more miles per hour in less time. Right? Does everybody understand that? What does the fraction what? 1/3 represent? If you're talking about 1/3 of an hour, it's 20 minutes. 1/3, listen, 1/3 of an hour is 20 minutes. But that doesn't matter. And here's why. This, listen, 4 miles in less than an hour. This is less than 1. Okay? Listen, if I went 4 miles in 1 hour, it still would have been going faster than 1/3 of a mile in 4 hours, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
It still would have been faster than going 1/2 mile in 3 hours, wouldn't it?
Right.
I did not have to do any of the division, because 4 miles in less time, the obvious answer had to be what? A.
I just looked at like the words, like 4 miles.
It's possible I made a mistake. If I did, bring it up at the end, and I'll fix it. Okay? Next. Graham. 5. There are some people that are going to be invited to leave. I'll go back to 3, but I was asked for 5 first. Okay. Listen, probably the biggest mistake that happened here is people didn't spend the time reading this very closely. A student studies the same amount of time each day. Do I know how much she studied each day yet? No. It said in 4 days she studied 60 minutes. 60 minutes, 4 days. How many minutes per day did she study? 15 minutes per day. Which is why B is the correct answer, because they wanted X to be the number of days. If I substituted 4 in here, 4 times 15 would show me that she studied for 60 minutes. Number 3. Again, a little surprised at some of the mistakes. Look at all the answers. All of the answers say dollars per pound. What goes in the numerator? The dollars. What goes in the denominator? The pounds. Is 10 greater than 4.5? So it's going to be larger than 1. It's not this, it's not this. It had to be what?
I did 45 pounds. I did too.
Okay?
It was talking about 45 pounds.
It says 4.5 pounds.
No,
KW.
no, I divided.
4.5 by 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did pounds. You did pounds per dollar. But it said dollars per. It said dollars per pound. JW 6. Number 6, draw a line through the points. How many labels are printed in 10 hours? 10 hours would have been somewhere off the chart. This would have been 9. 10 would have been right about in here. And although I could have guessed at what this number would have been, the best way to figure it out would have actually been to write an equation for this. This was the same exact graph that we had in our homework one time, that we had on the review sheet. This point is the point 828. To figure out what K is, I would have taken 28 and divided it by 8, which is 3.5. So the equation for this line would have been y equals 3.5 x. In this case, 10 hours would have said 3.5 times 10, which is why 35 is the correct answer. Number 7, from the same graph, it says, which term best describes the relationship between time and the number of labels printed? So if I look at the time, what's happening to the number of labels? Is it increasing or decreasing? Increasing. There's no way it's decreasing. Is it doubling? Actually, how much bigger did it get? 3.5 times as big. It's not doubling. Why is proportional the best response? Because it's a straight line through the origin. It's proportional.
Yes.
Please stop with the pencil. To have a constant rate of change, K has to stay constant. We do K by taking Y over X. I'd do 40 divided by 2. I'd do 60 divided by 7. 40 divided by 2 would be 20. 60 divided by 7 is 8.57. Did K stay constant for A? 20 compared to 8, not constant. 40 divided by 2, 20. 140 divided by 7, 20. 280 divided by 14, 20. Did K stay constant? That's why B is the correct answer. But that is what it is. It's a rate of change. It is changing 20 earrings per hour.
Oh, that's what they mean by change. I thought they meant by like.
It's not it's a constant, so in other words, it should stay the same, but it's telling you how much it's changing, the x value compared to the y value. Okay? Number 8. This one could have been done one of two ways. They really wanted you to find the unit rate and then multiply by 3. This one, because of the times that they chose, I didn't necessarily have to do that. 1.5 compared to 3 is twice as big, right? So I could have simply multiplied this by 2. I could have gotten 4.8 miles that way. That's the easiest way. The other way that you could have done it is you could have taken 2.4 divided by 1.5. That would have given you miles per hour. 2.4 divided by 1.5 would have said that you're walking at a rate of 1.6 miles each hour. If I can walk at a rate of 1.6 miles each hour, and I'm walking for 3 hours, I will walk 4.8 miles in that 3-hour period of time. Others from the quiz.
I have a question about this problem.
Yes.
I wrote 4.5 and you didn't check it wrong.
Then you just got lucky. I will never take more points off. Okay? I should have counted it wrong because the answer is what? 4.8. I'll never go back and take points off. Which, number 9? Okay. Listen, number 9, they actually were nice and set up part of it for you. They took this complex fraction, they wrote it as a division problem. Remember that when you're doing division problems, you keep, you change, you flip. This should have been written as 10 over 3.
Oh.
At this point, you should have cross-canceled. I will not continue to talk over those that are talking. If you'd like an exit slip to leave, I will send you to see Mr. Lynch. Two goes into 10. 5 times. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. You could have written 5/3 miles per hour, or you could have written 1 2/3 miles per hour. I even think that there were some that I took this, but I'd have rather they did not change that to a repeating decimal. It's not as accurate. Did I hear number 11 from somebody? First thing it said to do was draw a line through the points. And then it asked, what would have happened if we were at 5 weeks? Now, I do have the advantage of being able to draw nice straight lines. But you didn't necessarily have that advantage, but you had a lot of things you could have used, and you certainly could have asked for a ruler. But if I take a look at where these crossed, this would have been 70. This is 80. If you answered any number between 70 and 80, I gave you credit for it. It really should have come out to 75. And it would have been 75, technically $75. And about 75 would be a good way to look at the graph. If I figured it out, it actually comes out to exactly 75.
I got 70.
And I gave you credit for 70, did I not?
I got 70. You got me.
If
I
you
got 70.
listen, if you put down a number, listen, if you put down a number between 70 and 80, if I didn't give you credit for it, I should have, and you can bring it up, and I will. I'll fix it. Okay?
But 80, did you get right? You got it right.
Okay. Other questions from this? Going once, twice, done. Take out a sheet of paper to take a few notes on.
12.
Okay, number 12 was from the same graph.
I don't see how I got 10 on that.
I just wrote some down. I was like, yes.
If you do 10, I don't see how I got 12.
Number 12, they asked me for two ordered pairs. I'm going to tell you that I picked two that I could clearly identify. This is the ordered pair, 6, 90.
I got 2.
This is the ordered pair, 4, 60. This was the ordered pair, 2, 30. This one I could have put down at this 1, 15. This one I could have put down, it is 345. And the reason they wanted these ordered pairs is so that you could show that 90 divided by 6 came up to 15. 60 divided by 4 came up to 15. 30 divided by 2 came up to 15. No matter which of these 5 ordered pairs, I should have picked how many of them? 2. So I picked 690 and 460. But you could have written down any 2 of the 5 and been okay. And if you wrote them down in the wrong order, 96, obviously that's not the right ordered pair, is it? There's a big difference between 96 and 690. Number 10. It says, explain why k is the constant of proportionality. What they really wanted you to do was show this. 250 divided by 25 equals 10. 500 divided by 50 equals 10. 750 divided by 75 equals 10. 1,000 divided by 100 equals 10. It said explain why. They wanted you to show that k stayed constant. That's what they wanted you to show. That every time that you did it, that value, when you divided y by x, stayed at a value of 10. Now, one more time. Anything else? Once, twice, done. Have a sheet of paper out. We are going to take 4 examples down. 4. The quicker we get through them, the quicker you get started on your work.
For example,
Go ahead and write this equation out. Just write it out. All we're going to do is solve them. We've done this before. We're doing the same thing. Yes, you have. We spent almost a month on solving equations, and then another month on solving inequalities.
Oh, what's that? I don't recognize that.
Everybody got the problem written yet?
Yeah.
Anytime you're solving an equation, the first thing you should look at when you're solving an equation is if there's anything that you can simplify on either side of the equal sign. I can't do anything with negative 25. It's already kind of by itself. But can I put a negative 3x and a negative 2x together? I can. What is a negative 3x minus 2 more x? Negative 5x.
Negative 5x.
Please do not get confused. This is a negative 3x. This is either plus a negative 2x or minus 2 more x. I attach the sign. They both have the same sign. I add them together. So that's the first step. I simplified what was there. Make sure you're writing the steps down. Again, shouldn't have to say these things at this point in the year. If I look at where x is, if I'm trying to get it by itself, x is being multiplied by a negative 5. How do I undo multiplication? Division. So I divide both sides by a negative 5. X is going to be equal to a negative divided by a negative is going to make a positive. X equals 5. I'm going to do 4 examples. Obviously, I'm doing 4 examples because some of them are a little different, right? Is everybody okay with the first one? Pretty good? Second example then, write it down. We're still just going to solve it. Write it down. If I look at the left side, can I put a 2x together with a 4? No, they're not the same. Can I put 3x together with a negative 5? No, they're not the same. When I have x's on both sides of the equation, I usually try to move it to where x is the biggest. Which side is x the largest on? The left side or the right?
Right.
It's larger on the right. How would I get rid of this positive 2x on the left? I would subtract it. So go ahead and underneath the 2x and the 3x, write minus 2x. On the left, what's going to happen to the x's? It's going to cancel out. It's going to leave me with 4 equals 1x, or just x, minus 5. Is x by itself yet? No, what's attached to it? No, what's attached to it? Minus 5. How do I get rid of the minus 5? I add 5 to both sides. I'll have 9 equals x. Listen, does everybody remember that we have the ability to check our answer? If I substitute this 9 back into my original equation, 2 times 9 plus 4 equals 3 times 9 minus 5. They should come up the same. What is 2 times 9?
18.
Plus 4. What is 18 plus 4? 22. So when I work out this other side, 3 times 9 is 27. And when I subtract 5 from 27, it also gives me, and I can see that my answer came out the same, so it does check. I have the ability to make sure that my answer is right. Everybody okay with the two equations? Okay. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how to solve a proportion. This is a proportion, and we're going to talk about how to solve it. Make sure you write the proportion down. We're going to talk about the best way to solve this. Make sure you write the proportion down. 2 over 6 equals 7 over d. And you've done proportions before you came to my class, but you may have forgotten how to do them. But when you're solving a proportion, you should cross multiply. When you're cross multiplying, you're taking the denominator times the numerator on the other side. So I'm taking 2 times d. You're taking the denominator times the numerator. 6 times 7. Make sure you write the steps down. 2 times d is obviously what? 2d. 6 times 7 is 42. I'm going to tell you that in general, I don't write this step down. I kind of skip it. I just draw my little arrows in there, and I take 2 times d and write down 2d. I take 6 times 7, and I write down 42.
What's that in the yellow?
Skip. Right here, skip. I usually don't write this step down. Okay? I usually go straight from here to here. What would I do to solve this equation now?
Replace 40.
D is being multiplied by 2, so I'm going to divide by 2. What does D equal to? 21. Questions on the first proportion? I have a chance to copy it? No? Am I good now? Okay. Where did I get what? This 2? It was 2 times d, so to get rid of 2 times d, I divided by what? 2, so that these would cancel out. Okay? Am I good now? Everybody okay? Last one then. 6 over 12 equals b over 6. What do I do to solve a proportion?
Cross multiply.
I cross multiply. I would take 6 times 6, which is
36.
36. Notice how I didn't write down 6 times 6 this time, did I? I take 12 times b, which is what? 12b.
12B.
Guess I just.
Yep. And what would I do to get b by itself? Divide by 12. And b is equal to? B is equal to 3. How'd I get what?
Yeah, okay, never mind. Alright, yeah.
Questions?